What's up, YouTube? Fox here, and welcome to another Banlist discussion videos. Again, I know I say this over and over. I'm going to try and keep this quick. I'm going to try and keep this simple, but more than likely, it's going to wind up to be like 30 minutes long, like all my other ones. So, let's jump right into this. So, this is going to be what I think could possibly happen with our next ban list, which we should be getting within the next month because it'll be 3 months on October 16th, I believe. So we should be getting our new ban list sometime this month. So yeah, let's jump into it. So first off, we have Thunder King Ryo. This card I think should come to two. It helps to keep decks like Magispectors, which I love, Pendulums, Necros, pretty much anything that searches, which is most of the meta decks nowadays. The ton of searching and Thunder King, it just helps to keep those decks in checks. Helps to slow them down. Helps to make sure that you are not outspeeded. And so yeah, I think it should come to two. Um, I mean, it'd be cool if it came straight back to three, but I don't think that will happen, even though it has happened with some cards in the past that were limited. But yeah, I think it should at least come to two. And then Stratos. Now, I hate elemental heroes. I hate the deck, and but what I hate even more is all the hero players that keep nagging about bring my nigger Stratos back. So no offense to all you hero players, but I would, if Konami could just bring this card back to three to shut you all up, I would be very much appreciated. I don't think it's going to do jack diddly squat to the meta. Heroes are not going to instantly become, tier one, number one deck out there, but I mean, sure, it'll give them a boost. Why not? Um, but yeah, just bring the card back to three. It doesn't need to be banned. And like I said, it'll shut up all the annoying hero players that I keep hearing about saying, bring my nigger Stratos back, because that is really getting annoying. And then next up we have Satellar Knight Altair and Satellar Knight Deneb. Now, Satellar Knights did top, I forget if it was a Worlds or YCS, but it was one of those. And usually when a deck does that, it usually means that it's going to get hit. So I think these two are the top contenders. Um, I think Altair would be the better monster to hit, probably to one, because you can, in Satellar Knights right now, you don't need triple Deneb. You can run the deck with just one. You don't need three. So I think hitting Altair to one would be the smarter move. I mean, they could hit Deneb if they wanted to one, or they could hit both of them to one. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Altair to one is probably going to be the most likeliest choice. And then next up we have Witch of the Black Forest. So this card has been banned for quite some time now. And I think, yes, it can search out a much more broader variety of monsters than Sangan, because usually a lot of high attack monsters have low defense. So, yes, you could. Witch of the Black Forest does have a lot stronger searching power than Sangan, but I don't know. I don't really think it's going to be that viable because, unlike, well, I guess Sangan does have to be sent from the field, just like, let's see, Sangan. Oh, okay. So field to grave, just like Witch of the Black Forest. But Burning Abyss can they would get so much more out of Sangan, and Burning Abyss are strong as they are, and so I really don't think that they need a Sangan in that deck. But yeah, Witch of the Black Forest, I think could possibly come back to one and just sort of see what happens, because that's with these shorter ban lists, Konami has been starting to sort of bring stuff back, and just see what sort of happens. Now, sometimes nothing has happened, like Glow Up Ball back to 1. A lot of people thought, oh my gosh, Konami, what the hell are you doing? 1 week later, it's like, who cares? Glow Up Bulb, whoop-de-doo. And sometimes they have not been so good, which Snatch Steal, they instantly realized their mistake there and actually did a smart move and rebanned it. But Witch of the Black Forest, I think could come back to 1, see what happens. I don't think really anything is going to happen. So, yeah, bring it back to 1. Why not? Next up, we have Debris Dragon. Now, this card was, I think it was last year, or late the previous year, Konami did make an announcement that they were voting on a errata for Debris Dragon that would have made it so much more usable. And of course, it's been like over a year since that announcement, so obviously they've probably just pushed it aside or voted against it. But if you guys didn't know, I wish I could find it. I don't think I can because it was so long ago. But the errata had something to do with it changed up these last two sentences right here. I think it was, or no, it changed up this last sentence right here. The other synchro material monsters cannot be level 4. It changed that. I can't remember if it got rid of that or if they changed it to must be level 4. So yeah, all I know is that the errata would have made Debris Dragon a lot better, but obviously it never happened. So I think it could come back to 1, or not back. I think it could come back to 2. Same with Dandelion. Plants aren't really doing anything. Synchrons, we got the new structure deck, so why not push Synchrons a little bit more and put Dandy to 2? I mean, that would help the deck with a lot of combo pieces. And same with Gen X Ally Birdman. Bring that to 2. Again, help out those synchro decks and just help sort of push them on their way. And then we have Rescue Rabbit. Um, I mean, this card is over at 3 in the OCG, and it doesn't really do much. Like, not a lot of decks over there. I mean, I know their meta and our meta is different, but I mean, still, it's at 3 over there in the OCG, and the OCG is like always 3-4 months ahead of us because they get their sets before us, and Triple Rescue Rabbit really isn't doing anything over there. So I think it could come back to 2. Um, I don't know about 3. I mean, it could probably come to 2 and then go to 3, but I don't think straight back to 3. I think back to 2. Rescue Rabbit could come back and probably see a little bit more play. Probably get those Dino Rabbits back into the game, but more than likely that deck probably won't do very much. And next up, Royal Magic Library, banned. No, just banned. No reason why it should. I mean, to 1 maybe, but this card needs to be banned because of Exodia, um, Magical Explosion, Chicken Game, which is a newer card, so I don't think this will get hit. But I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Like maybe to 2 or 1, but Royal Magical Library just opens up so many OTKs and FTKs, and Konami does not like that. So this card needs to be banned. I mean, to 2 wouldn't be enough. To 1 would be acceptable, I guess, but banned is it has to go. And then next up we have the Burning Abyss, we have Sir and Graf, as well as Fire Lake right here, which I think should go at least to 1. Um, Honestly, I would love to see this card banned, but that's just my biased opinion. Honestly, I think probably to 1 is going to be your best bet for this card because, I mean, it's at least a +5 for the deck, and that's just way too strong. But Sir and Graf, I think, should both get hit to 1 because Sir is, when it's sent to the graveyard, you get to target one Burning Abyss monster in your graveyard, accept himself, and special summon it. And then Graf is the same thing, except special summons a Burning Abyss from the deck. So I think all three of these cards should go to 1. I don't think Dante will get hit. If he does, maybe to 2, but I really don't see Dante getting hit. More than likely, it's going to be one of their combo pieces. And then next up, Spacian Grand Mole should come to 2. Hell, bring it back to 3. I mean, no one's really playing it. I mean, I don't really think it's gonna do much at all. So, probably if Thunder King comes to 2, bring that to 2. If Thunder King goes to 3, bring this to 3. It's like, you know, it just helps decks get rid of annoying cards like these while using up their normal summons. So I think Grand Moles should come to 2. Hell, I think it should come to 3. So that's, I mean, I don't really see it doing all that much. And then Insector Hornet, I think, should come to 2. Dragonfly, which is the other one, I believe, Insector Dragonfly. Yeah, this one should just stay banned. Or not banned. This one should just stay at 1. Um, it's a bit too good for the deck. I mean, I know the deck hasn't seen any play, or at least not to my knowledge. And I think Dragonfly should just stay at 1. But Hornet could definitely come to 2. 3, I don't know. But definitely 2, I think it should be able to come back to. I don't think it's going to do much. So just bring it back. And then Night Assailant. I'm not too. I know I heard something about this card as to why it's limited, but I don't think it's really that viable because for one, it's a flip effect monster, so you're already using up your normal summon right there to target to destroy one monster your opponent controls. So basically, it's basically a Raikou or a Snowman Eater, or it's one of those types of cards, and you just don't really see those cards anymore. And so I think Night Assailant, I think it could come back to 2. I don't think it's going to do much because, yes, you could Night Assailant, add back Night Assailant, and just keep doing that, but it's like, what is that going to do? Honestly, what is that going to do? I mean, I don't think that's really going to do anything. So bring it back to 2, and I don't know, maybe 3 later on down the road. And then Cyberstein. This card, I believe, is at 3 in the OCG. I think, is it? Yes, it is at 3 in the OCG. I mean, it's one of, yes, it opens up the FTK, or not FT, the OTK with Cyber End, or is it Cyber End? No, I think it's Cyber Twin. Let's see, Cyber Fusion. Yeah, because Cyber End Dragon the only extra thing it does is piercing, but it's Cyber Twin Dragon that gets double attack, and then you limiter removal it, so you OTK. But I mean, it's 5,000 of your life points. If that thing gets breakthrough'd, Fiendish, what else? No, Yuki Usagi wouldn't do anything because it doesn't negate. Veilered, I mean, and then all the other negation, like archetype negation, like the Raid Raptors, they have their Gust counter trap card, and then you Senjus, they have their secret technique. I mean, 5,000 life points is a pretty hefty cost. So if this gets negated, or if something goes wrong, you pretty much lose. So I think this card could come straight back to 3. I don't think it's going to do anything. And yeah, next up we have Deep Sea Deviant. Going back to those synchro decks. I mean, I know there's the one Atlantean. Wow, I spelled that wrong. Let's see, Atlantean. Gotta go all. Where is it? This one right here. We do not have this card. We probably won't be seeing this card for like another year or two because it is an OCG exclusive. But this deck would, I mean, this card going to two would probably. I might even think about playing Mermails again if this card came back to two. So, Mermails. It's a fun deck. I remember for Christmas I actually got a couple packs of what was it? Abyss Rising, and I actually pulled first ed Abyss Megalo back when it was like $100, and I was so happy. And then I actually built Mermails. So if Deep Sea Diva came back to two, I would definitely play Mermails again. And I don't know. I think it should come back to two, sort of to see how it is, because I don't really see it at one being really a justificational sort of thing. Then again, I haven't played meta in quite some time. So next up we have Instafusion and Norden. One of these cards has to get hit to one. Preferably Instafusion, because I mean if you hit Norden to one, you don't want to be running triple Instafusion. I mean, yes, it would give you a chance to bring Norden out, but I mean, unless you have something like Summoner Monk, I mean, that's two dead draws for you. So Instafusion should probably go to one because of Norden, or Norden to one, and then you'd only be running one Instafusion anyways. So one of them or both, they need to be hit. And then next up we have Heavy Storm. This card I think should come to one. Um, I don't really think it's gonna do much. I mean, I know it has a better chance than Harpy's Feather Duster, because Heavy Storm, at least a Pendulum deck could use it, and it would hurt them as well. Whereas Harpy's Feather Duster, it just too OP for. I mean, yes, Pendulums would be able to keep their scale and all of that, but I think Heavy Storm is probably the better choice over Harpy's Feather Duster, because then at least it would give Pendulum decks sort of a bad side to using it. So Heavy Storm to one I think would be interesting. I think it should probably go back to one for at least one format, see what happens. Probably nothing. So yeah. And next up we have Monster Gate. Infernoids, from what I've heard just recently, a couple days ago, won YCS Dallas, I think it was. So they got first place. Apparently the deck 16 0'd. So maybe Monster Gate should stay at one. I don't know. Maybe it should come to two. But I mean, it's something that I think should maybe come back to two, because you do have to tribute one monster, and then you basically, I don't know. It would open up some sacky plays with Infernoids if it came back to two, because then that would be an additional card that they would just mill pretty much their entire deck and then go all in. So, I don't know. Maybe back to two. Not too entirely sure on that. I haven't been keeping up with Infernoids since they lost momentum. But yeah, maybe putting this back to two would push that deck. Maybe Konami will make some new Infernoid cards. So yeah, maybe they'll make it like an Xyz monster or something, or a ritual. Next up we have Gold Sark. Pretty slow card in the game. I think it should come to two. Maybe three. But I mean, you gotta wait 2 turns, and a lot of decks you don't have 2 turns, so it's a pretty slow card, and I think it should come to two, at least two. I wouldn't be surprised if it came all the way back to three. So yeah. Next up we have Book of Moon. Book of Moon, Compulse, and Bottomless. These three I think should all come back to at least two to keep Pendulum decks in check. More specifically, the Magician Odd Eyes Pendulum decks, as well as Well, actually, Magician, Magispector, none of these cards would be able to do anything against those because Magispectors are immune to. They can't be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects. So these three cards wouldn't do anything against that deck, but against Magician Pendulums, which is an insanely consistent, insanely powerful deck, bringing these cards back to at least two would be good. I think, yeah, these two are at three in the OCG, as Book of Moon is already at two over there. So I think at least two for each of them. They should, if Konami wants to help keep those decks in check. And then Emergency Teleport. This did just get a reprint in High Speed Riders and I know Cyframes use this card. Or no, not Cyframes. What is it? Or is it Cyframes? I'm not too entirely sure. They are psychic, but I don't think that they can be special summoned. Cannot be must be stuff. Oh no, they can be special summoned by a card effect. And then I do believe the Cosmos. Yeah, the Good Witch and Farm Girl. They're both psychics. So, wait, does it have to be? Oh wait, level 3 or lower. So, oh yeah, you could get out Farm Girl. So I think this card may be to 2, but I don't think it's going to happen because of Cyframes and the most recent reprint. Then again, Konami did put Vanity's Emptiness to 1 right after a reprint. So I don't know, it could happen, but I don't think it's going to get hit. But if it does, maybe to 2. Then Spellbook of Fate. This card could come back to 2. Spellbooks haven't seen any play. I tried the deck out myself, IRL, but I don't know, it was good, but it was sort of hit or miss. So I think this card could come back to 2. It's not really going to do that much. Judgment, though, Judgment, never come back. Never come back. That card is way too broken. But Fate could come back to 2. I don't think it's going to do much. And then Premature Burial. I mean, I don't really. I mean, I know you could like DeLorean or something of the sort, like bounce it back to hand and then reuse it, but I don't really think. I know like the Mist Valleys. Yeah, you could do that, but in most of today's meta decks, you don't have a lot of return this card to the hand, return X amount of cards to the hand, or return one card you control to the hand to do this. I haven't seen any meta decks have any cards specifically to their archetype, or any old cards that they just splash in have any of those effects. So I think Premature could come back to 1 for at least a format. I mean, you do have to pay 800, and it does have to be from your graveyard, not either. So I think it could come back to 1 for at least one format. And do I think anything's going to happen? Probably not. So, I mean, I see it as somewhat more balanced as Monster Reborn, because you got to pay your life. You got to pay 800. You got to target one monster from your graveyard, and it basically becomes a dead card then once the monster is summoned, because it could go to the graveyard, nothing happens to the monster, go back to your hand, nothing happens to the monster. You know, it just sort of sits there and takes up space. So I think this card could come back to 1. Not going to do much. Next, we have Divine Wind in the Mist Valleys. This would help out Yosenju's. I do like Yosenju's. I might rebuild the deck again if this comes back to 2. It just helps you keep a monster out for your secret techniques. And then Dragon Ravine could come back to 3. I don't think it's going to do much. Give Dragoonides their Ravine back. I've never played the deck. It looks interesting, heavily combo based, and I'd probably be the 90% of people that play it wrong, so I'm not even going to try. Next up, we have Gear Gear. Could come back to 3. I haven't seen Gear do really anything. And the Geargianos, if I remember correctly, are not the best of cards. Yeah, these 3 right here, like, you don't really want to use these cards if you can help it. You don't really want to. So Gear could come back to 2. I don't think it's going to do much. I haven't seen the deck in so long. And then we have what is this? Ritual Beast Steeds. I know the picture says something else. That's the OCG name. But Ritual Beast Steeds I think should probably go to 1. It's a really good card for them. It's basically their version of Fire Lake. So, except you don't have to send any monsters to grave. You just pop as many as you have Ritual Beasts. So, I think this card should probably go to 1 because that deck is really annoying to go up against when they just do the ulti Kanahawk loop and just search like triple of these and 2 of the ambushes. It's just you can't do anything for 3 turns at least, and it's just real annoying. And then next up we have Mind Crush, really good card against deck searchers, just like Thunder King. It also lets you see your opponent's hand, which is a pretty strong thing. So I don't know, maybe to 1, but in all honesty, I kind of don't want to see it get hit because playing 3 in your side deck is pretty good. At least playing 2 in the main deck is pretty good as well. So, but I don't know. This card might go to 1 because it's been used quite a bit. I mean, a lot of people either main deck, side deck, or any combination. They're running 3. So, good chance you're going to see your opponent's hand at least game 2, and you'll be able to play over all their moves. And then next up we have going into extra deck monsters. We already talked about Norden, so we'll go ahead and throw him out. Um, we have El Shaddoll Construct. Shadolls I haven't really seen much in them, but I know Construct is like their main monster. So putting Construct to 1 wouldn't necessarily hurt the deck. It would slow it, but it wouldn't make the deck unplayable. So I think putting Construct to 1 is the smarter move. I think in the OCG she is banned, and that would pretty much make people not want to play the deck anymore. So I think to 1 would probably be a good choice. And then Thousand Eyes Restrict, this card could come back to 3 for all I care. As long as Metamorphosis stays banned, Thousand Eyes Restrict, I mean, it's basically a 101 Castell. I mean, it's just one of those monsters that gets rid of 1 monster. So it's not that hard of a card to get rid of. So I think this card could come back to 3 for all I care. It's not going to do much. Xian could come back to 3 as much as I hate Six Samurai. It's at 3 in the OCG, I believe. Yes, it is at 3 at the OCG. And I don't think it's going to do much as long as Gateway stays banned because that card is too broken. Next up we have Shockmaster. This card, I keep mentioning it in my videos. It should come back to 1. It's not gonna do it's not gonna do much. I mean, yes, sure, you get to stop your opponent from, maybe doing monster effects or maybe doing spell effects or traps. I mean, really the only decks that are gonna heavily rely on that one type is going to be, for example, Synchrons. Monster effect, yeah, that deck can't play. Do you see Synchrons topping at YCSs and Worlds? No. Spellbooks called Spells. Alright, do you see spellbooks at YCSs or Worlds? No, not really. I mean, it's just like a lot of the meta decks nowadays, they focus on 2 aspects. And so even if you get rid of 1, they still have that other one to go off on. So Necros, monsters, and spells. I don't know as far as pendulum decks go. If you call spells, then you can't activate them in your pendulum zone. I'm not too entirely sure what the ruling would be on that, but I think Shockmaster could come back to 1. It should never come back to 2 though, and it should definitely never come back to 3. But to 1, I think it would be good at. It's not going to do much. It really isn't. As much as you may think it will, it really isn't going to do much. Next up, we have Patola. However the hell you pronounce this dude. This card may or may not get hit. I know we don't have Cyber Dragon Infinity yet, but I mean, Konami has been known to hit things prematurely, just like the Gishkis. So this card could potentially be hit to 2, maybe 1, because at most I've seen decks only run 2 at most. So maybe to 1, but again, we have no clue when Infinity is coming to us. So this card might not even get hit. But if it does get prematurely hit, to 1 would definitely at least impact somewhat. And then next up we have Wind Up Carrier. Wind-ups are supposed to be getting new support, so why not bring Carrier back? He is back at 3 in the OCG. Now, I don't know if we have Hunter banned. Let's see. Wind Up Hunter still is at 3, so this card would, if this card came back, this card would have to be hit. This card would have to be banned. That way you wouldn't. That way you wouldn't be able to do the Hunter loop. So, because even with Carrier at 1, you can still Hunter on a good day. You can still Hunter loop. I think it's like 4 times. 3 or 4 times, even with 1 Carrier. And that's first turn, about half, that's half of your opponent's hand. So if this card comes back to 1, this card should get immediately banned. So it should be a trade-off. And then next up, we have these 4 cards down here. Now these are cards that I don't really know how to explain it, but like for example, Envoy of the End and Magician of Chaos, yes, they both have erratas. Yes, they're both back at 3 in the OCG. However, we do not have an errata reprint for either of these cards. So even though people say, "Oh, bring these back," they got an errata, why aren't these back? It's because we don't have a reprint of either of them. And the reason being is because for all of you who love this dude right over here at Quasar, the reason why we didn't get a reprint of him for so long is the same reason why we are not going to be getting an errata reprint for these guys for quite some time. It is because Konami does not own the rights to these 2 cards. It is the I forget the name of the company, but it is the company that originally printed the I don't know if it was Shonen Jump magazines, but it was the magazines that these cards were promos in when they like first got released or something. That company owns the rights to these cards. So until they give the green light, until they give the thumbs up to Konami, we will not be seeing an errata reprint for either of these. And until we get that reprint, these cards are going to stay banned. So when we get the errata reprint, these cards will most definitely come back to at least 1. I guarantee you that. Next up, Dark Law. I'm telling you right now, this card's not going to get hit. It's probably never going to get hit, and that is because it is the cover card for, or at least I believe it's the cover card for the Heroes structure deck. And when a card is a cover card for the structure, I know it's not the case with booster packs, but when it comes to structure decks, if a card is the cover card, more than likely it's never going to get hit by the ban list. So this card probably never going to get hit because it is the cover card. And then next up we have Torrential Tribute. This card is probably going to stay at 1. It'd be interesting to see it at 2, but the reason why I feel like it's not going to come back is because Pendulums can abuse this card. Because they go to the extra deck, and you're going to be activating it on your opponent's turn. So, you'll get, yes, your field will get wiped out along with theirs, but why should you care? All those monsters are coming back next turn, easy peasy lemon squeezy. So, Torrential Tribute gonna stay at 1. I don't see it coming back to 2 with Pendulums. At least until maybe after these guys come back, then maybe we'll see Torrential come back. But Yeah, so there are that those are all my choices for, as far as what I see logically speaking. So next up, I'm actually looking at my timer here. Holy crap, we're at 35 minutes. Oh man, I hope you guys grabbed your popcorn. So next up, I'm gonna be going over real quick my top four. Just what the hell, Konami? What are you thinking? Why are you bringing this back? Didn't you learn from Snatch Steal cards? So without further ado, here's the first one. Alright, so first up we have Cyberjar. So this card, he is a flip effect monster. If you guys don't know what he does, a lot of you newer players, it is destroy all monsters on the field. Then both players pick up 5 cards from the top of their decks and special summon all level 4 or lower monsters among them in face up attack position or face down defense position. Then the rest then the rest of the cards picked up are added to your hands. So pretty strong card. However, it is a flip effect monster, so it is slow on that part. It could get Regeki'd, it could get Castelled, it could get Frightford Tigered. I mean, there are so many popping effects out there that if you do get it off, awesome, props to you. But you know, it is a flip effect monster, so it is slower, and it's what in a tournament once your opponent sees it first game, they pretty much know how to play around it for games 2 and 3. So that's the first one. Next up we have Rescue Cat. Now, I was not around during the format when this card was wreaking havoc. I think it was Gladiator Beasts that were wreaking havoc with this card. But it is, you can send this face up card to the graveyard to special summon to special summon 2 level 3 or lower beast type monsters from your deck. Those monsters are destroyed during the end phase. So, I mean, again, I wasn't around during the meta that this was around, but I did hear that it was supposedly Glad Beasts that were abusing this card. So they have BCRE back to 3 now, I believe. Yeah, it's back at 3. So I don't know. Maybe we could see a format with this back. I don't know how well that's going to go over, but hey, why not try? If it's as bad as Snatch Steal, just reban the card. And then next up we have Brain Control. So I know the text is a little fuzzy for this one. It is pay 800 life points. Select one face-up monster on your opponent's side of the field. Take control of the selected card until the end phase of the turn this card is activated. So I know you may be thinking Snatch Steal, but I think this card is a bit more balanced than Snatch Steal. Mainly because, for one, you have to pay life points, and two, you're only going to have that monster for one turn. Now, granted, maybe you only need that one turn. I mean, a lot of the times with Snatch Steal, it was like you only needed that one turn. And just like Snatch Steal, you can do anything with this monster that you grab. But I don't know. I think it's a bit more balanced because with Snatch Steal, you could steal it and you didn't necessarily have to win that turn. You could just sit. And yeah, sure, your opponent gained 1,000 life points, but more than likely, they'd be losing more than what they were gaining. So at least with Brain Control, it's more like all in or nothing. So I think it'd be interesting to see this card back at 1. Do I think Konami will reban it instantly just like Snatch Steal? More than likely. More than likely. But I think it'd be cool to see this card back at 1. And yeah. Alright, so the fourth one that I have here is Pot of Greed. Now, I know you may be thinking, what the fuck? What are you smoking? Honestly, this is just fan service for me. I have a first ed ulti from Duelist Back Kaiba. I'd love to use it, so bring Pot of Greed back! Yeah! But I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's ever gonna happen. But to see it back at 1 would just be it'd be amazing because you always see the main character in the anime use it. I don't know if we've seen Yuya use it in in Arc V. I don't think he's used it, but it's like I don't know. Yugi used it. A lot of the main characters from the original show used it. A lot of main characters from GX used it. Um, Quite a few people from 5Ds used it. It's just like it's one of those cards where like you could go full on anime and just win. And I think that'd be really cool to see Pot Agreed back at 1. And yes, I think if they did bring it back to 1, it would be immediately rebanned next ban list without a doubt, 100%. But it's just because it's not even Snatch Steal isn't even on the same level as Pot of Greed. But it would just be such a amazing card to see back. It would be such a what the fuck moment. I'm sure tons of people would probably quit Yu-Gi-Oh for that format, but it would just be probably the biggest what the fuck card. Or it could be this fifth card that I just thought about putting for my. So now it's not even top 4, it's top 5. And that next card is Graceful Charity. Now, this card is even more broken than Pot of Greed, in my opinion. And I'm sure a lot of you people would agree that Graceful Charity is a hell of a lot more broken than Pot of Greed. Because, first off, you draw 3 cards. And then, if you're Burning Abyss, Dark World, Shadal, any of those types of decks, you then discard 2 cards, and then you plus. It's just, it would be so amazingly good, so amazingly broken that I had to put it on here, even though I know without a doubt this card will not come back to 1 anytime soon. It'll be years before this card comes back to 1. It'll be years, but it would just be so crazy if it did. It would be so insanely crazy if it did. But I know it has. I mean, seriously, Pot of Greed has a higher chance to come back than Graceful Charity. And it's just. I don't know which one I'd want to see more. I think I'd honestly want to see Pot of Greed more than Graceful Charity. Because Graceful Charity, again, Burning Abyss, Shadal's, Dark Worlds, those decks would just get so overpowered with this one card. But yeah, those are my top. Those are my top 5 WTF cards. Out of all of them, I don't know. It would for me. It'd be between seeing Cyberjar back and Pot of Greed back for me. One of the those are like if any of these 5 cards came back, it would be a toss of a coin between those two, which one I'd be more thrilled about. But yeah, there you go. I actually thought about talking about the OCG ban list, but this video has already reached almost an hour, so I'm actually going to cut it off here. If you guys want to look at the OCG ban list, I'll have a link down in the description below. I don't really feel like going over it this time because I feel like I've already mentioned it enough. I've referenced it enough, so I don't really need to go back and talk to you guys about it. But yeah, again, there you go. Those are my thoughts. Let me know down in the comment section below if there's any cards that I missed or any cards that you want to see come back that would just break the meta. Or that you think people would think that, but you know otherwise. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Patreon down below. Again, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below as well. And I shall catch you guys later. Fox out.